welcome to another lighting breakdown. My name is Prince Mason. Today we will be looking at how to create amazing portraits using a canvas backdrop and constant lights. As you guys know, LEDs have come a long way and I absolutely love shooting with them now. I have the GVM LEDs, the NAN lights, and the Zhiyun LEDs, and today we're going to be using the GVM 650B for this particular photo shoot. I shot these images and they look great straight out of the camera, but if you want to take your images to the next level with your retouching, check out my digital store. I have some free amazing assets and some paid ones. Check it out, link will be in the description below. Big shout out to the model, the makeup artist, and also the studio I use for the shoot. All the links to their pages will be in the description. But anyways, let's get straight into the lighting breakdown. Okay guys, so now let's get into the lighting breakdown. So you guys can see we have our key light here and we are shooting with a canvas backdrop. And this right here is what the final image turned out to look like. Now, we have this image here, which was the headshot, same light setup, and then we have this one here, which is the portrait. Now, for this particular image, I'll just show you guys what the before looked like. That's exactly what the before looked like. I don't know if I have this in my Capture One. Let me scroll and open that in my Capture One. So while that's loading, I'm gonna show you guys what the before looked like. This is what the before looked like, and don't know why that's taking so long to load. And this is what the after looked like. As you guys can see, I did some major tweaks in Photoshop. So if you guys want to see how I created this color backdrop, just added light or color to this backdrop, let me know. I did that in Photoshop. Okay, great. So now I'm just going to hop back into Photoshop and we're just going to keep the final image open. So right here, as you guys can see, we shot with the canvas backdrop. When you're shooting with the canvas backdrop, I typically shoot with a low aperture. Now for my camera settings, you guys can see I shot at f2.8 because that's the lowest my camera lens can go. I was shooting with the 100mm Canon EF lens and the Canon R5, 1/250th of a second. So that got a little bit into the realm of high speed sync. And the reason why I was doing that was because I wanted to be able to keep my image as sharp as possible and just limit, whatever blur is going to come in from movements, right? And ISO 100. So basically those are my camera settings. Typically I shoot 5600 Kelvin, but just put that at the back of your mind. So if we come here, we can see that Capture One changed it to 5513. So just to balance it out. Okay, great. So now that we're back in here, I want to show you guys exactly what the setup is. Now, my subject to the backdrop was probably about 4 to 5 feet. It's always good to keep your subject further away from the backdrop, especially when you are shooting with a canvas backdrop. Like I said, shoot with a lower aperture, and that way, you have enough space between your subject and your background to just blur out the backdrop, but also show the texture on the backdrop. So typically when you shoot with the canvas backdrop, I would advise that you shoot the low aperture. Now, another reason why I was shooting the low aperture was because I was shooting with this light. This light right here is the GVM 650B. This is a 650 watt continuous light, so I wasn't shooting with a flash in this particular photo shoot. And then this light's pointing down directly at my subject from this angle. As you guys can see, it's kind of like at the side. So if you look at the image here, you can see that it is creating this nice shadow close to the nose right there. So if I zoom into this image here, that's what we call loop. So if this shadow right here under the nose attaches to this shadow that's coming from here, then it's going to be Rembrandt lighting. But right now, that's loop. You can see it's just looping at the side of the nose. And it's always a good light setup. It's kind of like in between your butterfly light setup and your Rembrandt light setup. But at the same time, whenever you twist and turn your subject, you can eventually get like a butterfly light setup, like this right here. As you can see, the shadows are not to the side of the nose. The shadows are right here underneath the nose. So that was because my subject now was looking directly at the light, and the light coming from up here was hitting my subject directly on the forehead. You guys can see the shadows are directly under the nose. So when you move your subject around, you can either get like a loop, a Rembrandt, or butterfly light setup. You don't have to move your light to get those different effects for your lighting setup or light effect on your subject's face, right? You don't have to move the light around. But yeah, so this light is up looking down at my subject, and I have a V flat here, white V flat here, bouncing light back at my subject. I try to keep my light as close as possible to my subject, depending on how soft I want the light to be. Because we're shooting the softbox that is about 65, I think this is a 90 cm softbox. This is a 90 cm Zhiyun softbox. So because I'm shooting with the 90 cm Zhiyun softbox, I am just bringing it as close as possible to my subject. You guys can see we have really nice soft light hitting my subject's face. When I wanted to get a close-up shot like this, I go closer to my subject, and when I wanted to get a portrait, what I did was that I moved a bit further away from my subject. And that's basically how I got this. I didn't move the light for either one of them. Like I said, we have our V-flat bouncing light back here. Our light was probably at 650 watts. So it was, at the highest power. So like I was using the whole 650 watts of light that I was getting from this GVM 650MB. And yeah, it's a very simple and easy light setup. If you have a camera that has a lower aperture, a lens that has a lower aperture, maybe something at f1.4, I tend to like those images a bit better, but that is this light setup. So now what I did was that I did switch the light setup up a little bit, and you guys can see this is what the image look like. So we still have the same light setup. We have this light right here, pointing down at our subject and giving us this nice loop shadow on our subject's face. So if I do zoom in here, you guys can see. If I zoom into my subject's face, you guys can see. But at the same time, I have this Richard, what's it called again? I forgot. Richard Bow? I don't know. But it's one of these constant lights that's really hot. I think this is about 1K or so. I have it pointing at the backdrop with the band doors, and that was because I was just trying to create some sort of texture on the canvas backdrop. Remember, my subject is still, I'll probably say about 5 feet away from the backdrop. My light is as close as possible to my subject, from the side, lighting down, just creating this nice shadow on the right side of her face. We have the V-flat bouncing light back. Another thing you can do instead of using the V-flat, if you want more light to bounce, or if you want more light on this part of your subject, is use maybe like a 7-foot umbrella. And like I said, we have this just creating kind of like a nice effect on the background, and that effect you guys can see here, it's right here. This is that effect right here. And like I said, we have our light coming from this part to hit our subject's face and our subject body, and we're bouncing light back this way using a V-flat. I think this was still the same settings, but what I did was that I switched it up a little bit later in the day. This is the before. I don't know why my capture one is taking so long to load. So this is after. So yes, I did switch up my light settings a little bit. Not my light settings, my camera settings. I mean, so I shot at ISO 320, 1/500 of a second, f2.8. And the reason I did this was because I realized that the images I was shooting at ISO 100 and 1/250th of a second was kind of like soft. It was a little bit soft. It wasn't as sharp as I wanted it to be. So because she had like quite a little bit of movement, and when you shoot with constant light, it does not freeze the frame like Flash will freeze the frame. So what I did was I just switched up my settings. Shot at 1/500th of a second, right, with my shutter speed, still f2.8, still my 100mm lens, but I took it up to ISO 320. Now, what I'm learning how to do is not be afraid to bump my ISO up, because we've learned to shoot ISO 100 because that's where you get the most dynamic range, at the same time the cleanest images. But sometimes you don't need that. You can shoot at whatever ISO you want, as long as you're not introducing too much noise into your image. And for a lot of my image, I still add grain later, so it really doesn't matter. But hey, that's about it. And that is this light setup. If you guys are looking to get backdrops, definitely get some canvas painted backdrops. They add like some type of style, texture, and depth to your images, and a lot of clients love portraits like this. So anyways, thank you so much for watching today's video, and please like, subscribe. I said please. Please like, subscribe, and comment below. Let me know if you learned a thing or two. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out, guys.